Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice. We finally made it, guys. We're on the last game. We did it. This game has been a long time coming. A lot of people have requested it for the longest time. Even when I was playing like the first game, they're like, "Are you gonna play Spirit of Justice?" And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe when I get there, I'll actually play it. But I'm excited to play this. I've heard this game is very much in the same vein as Dual Destinies. Which I'm not against. Like I said at the end of the Dual Destinies playthrough, I didn't hate Dual Destinies by any means. I actually really liked it, but it did have its weak points. I thought it was a little bit too crazy at times. That's not really what I enjoy about this series. The wacky characters are fine when they have depth to them, but a lot of them didn't. That was kind of the problem that I had. So I've heard this game though, a lot of people like it more than they do Dual Destinies, and that's awesome. I am a little bit sick if you can't tell, but I thought I sound okay enough that I can do a video of this, so I figured let's get into it. Plus, I need to. I need to play more. I'm super excited for this though. I think this has the ability to be as good as some of the greatest games. I think Dual Destinies also had that potential, but there were just too many late introductions, too many not fleshed out characters. Even the Phantom, the more I thought about him, the more I was like, wow, we knew nothing about this guy. We really didn't know anything about him in the end. Like, what was he doing? Why were they searching for him in the first place? Like, I'm still confused by that. He was a spy, okay. What was he doing? Was he stealing information from them? Or like, what? And, I don't know. But, it's in the past, this is a new game, and let's get right into it. So this one's weird, doesn't have a new game, so I guess we'll just go episode select. I did buy the final episode, or the, whatever it's called, the special episode, in case you're wondering. And, so basically, that takes place after the main game, though, so we're going to be playing the entire main game first. So let's start off with the foreign turnabout, I think. Yep, alright. All animated cutscenes, I forgot about this, dude.
On the western edge.
Oh, cool, they have subtitles now. We didn't want to do it in the first game. I don't know why, but...
lies a peaceful country of spirit mediums.
Oh, is this Kurain?
The kingdom of Kurain.
Wait, what? Is that different from Kurain?
But now, the flames of revolution
Kurain.
are threatening to consume it whole.
Oh, snapperdoodles, what is going on?
But things like revolt and revolution.
Oh, dude.
Were the
1 month
furthest things
prior.
from my mind when I first arrived in this land.
What am I doing here? Hello. I wanted to talk to you about your new job at Freddy Fazbear's. You've already made that joke. Okay, sorry. That kid is a Megatama. Oh, hi there, cow. I didn't know you were a citizen of this city. The foreign turnabout. I like how I instinctually went to my Phoenix voice already because of... I'm so excited. This is a scroll. You might not know it. This is a Megatama, but it's squiggly for some reason. Here in Kurain, death is not the end. It's the beginning. Even after death, the soul lives on in the Twilight Realm. And priestesses can commune with the spirits of the dead. Fear not death. In the name of the Holy Mother. I don't think this is me saying this. Fear only the impurities of your soul. Ooh, blood. Ooh, that man is dead. Oh, that's pretty ironic. Oh, there's blood on my soul. Oh, the child, take the blame. Oh, dude, it looks like an evil Jesus. Well, they're doing the thing where they spoil the killer, but hopefully they'll get over that. Whoa. Woo! Finally here. So this is the kingdom of Kurain, huh? What a long trip. I wonder how many hours I was in the air. Why am I here? But just look at this place. Am I taking these photos? Get a load of this street. It really feels like I'm in another world here. I have to climb all those steps. And that gorgeous temple. I read that that's the center of the town. And they have cows. Wow, an ox right in the middle of the street. I have to get a picture of that. It's an ox, I apologize.
Excuse me, sir.
I wonder what kind of bird that is. I've never seen anything like it. What a crest it has on its head.
Excuse me, sir.
What? Oh, yes?
Pardon me, but are you Mr. Wright?
Yeah, that's right. Oops. Hope he hasn't been trying to get my attention all this time. Wait a minute. Are you?
That's right.
I'll be your guide at your service. Oh, I'll be your guide. Wow, that was I'll be your guide at your service.
I'm a monk in training
at Temple. Oh my god.
and I'll be your guide around town. It's very nice to meet you. Haparaki?
Haparaki. Happy what now?
Haparaki. That's how we greet people here in Kurain. It's like hello or how do you do?
It's quite a pretty handy expression to know. Okay, let me give it a try. Hello, I'm Phoenix Wright. Haparaki. My name is Phoenix Wright, and I run a small law office. Well, that's what I do back home anyway. Right now, I'm just a traveler, a stranger in a strange land.
Welcome to our country. Welcome to the kingdom of Kurain, land of the spirit mediums and mystery. This is for you, to celebrate your arrival.
Speaking of mystery, what is this mysterious green lump exactly?
Allow me to explain. This is a famous Kuranese sweet bun. It's called a megatamaman, or soul bun. It's shaped like a megatama. It's so yummy it'll send your soul to the twilight realm.
That doesn't exactly make me eager to eat it. Thanks. I think I'll indulge later.
That will be 20 damas. Thank you for your patronage.
I have to pay?
I always have plenty of those on hand, so just let me know if you ever want any more.
Is it another 20 damas? No wonder his bag looks so heavy. It's stuffed with all the tools of his trade.
Oops, I almost forgot to tell you something really important. It's about Miss Maya. She can't come see you for a few days yet.
Yeah, when I called her from the airport, she said she was still training up in the mountains. I told her I'd wait for her here. Either way, I was glad to hear she's in good spirits. Okay, so I did know that one thing. So, Maya comes back in this game, which I'm super excited for. I want to see what happened, and yeah, I can't wait. Maya Fey. She's a spirit medium who used to work as my assistant, and then left for an undisclosed reason. I came all the way out here to celebrate the end of her ascetic training with her. This is my first time in this country, so I'll be counting on you, okay?
You got it, sir. Please don't hesitate if you need anything at all.
I was right when she told me I could leave everything in your capable hands.
Ah, shucks, she said that? That sure was nice of her. I had a chance to show Miss Maya around a little bit, too.
If there's one person Maya was worried about, it's me.
Because we both know trouble likes to follow you wherever you go, she said.
Huh, that girl worries too much.
You sure came early to the party, Mr. Wright, sir. I mean, Miss Maya won't be done with her training for another 2 weeks.
Ugh, I hate to admit it, but I came early because I was worried about her too. Oh, well, you know, I thought I'd get in a little sightseeing first.
Ooh, sightseeing? Well, I'm your man for that. I'll show you all the best sights this country has to offer.
Thanks. That would be great. I guess Albie takes his job very seriously.
Well, what are we waiting for? Those sights are gonna see themselves.
Yikes, you don't have to shove.
First stop, Temple. Right there in the center of town. Something I really want to show you.
Huh. Oh my god, I'm so tired. We just walked up like 1,000 steps. This looks like a place a murder will happen.
Wow!
It's even more impressive up close.
Allow me to explain. This is the heart of our town, Temple. It was created by the founder of Koreanism, the Holy Mother herself. I'm training right here at this temple to be a monk someday.
I read that the people of this country are all adherents of the Koreanism. According to my guidebook, it's a religion in which ancestral spirits are venerated.
The Holy Mother was a great spirit medium who could commune with our ancestors' soul, and the spirit mediums become queen to this day. Direct descendants of the Holy Mother.
A spirit medium rules the entire country, huh? Talk about power and influence.
The main thing you'll want to see when you come to Temple is the dance of devotion, right? The dance of devotion takes place twice, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. This dance, along with the song of ceremony, is performed in offering to the Holy Mother. The dance of devotion has the power to summon 4 souls from the Twilight Realm. In Koreanism, we believe this.
Hold it! Hold it! Slow down. I can't remember all that at once.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I got a little overexcited.
Anyway, the main thing I got from all that is that you really, really love your country.
Well, that's sure true.
I like this kid. He pours his heart into everything he does.
Let's see. I guess I just explained about half what I usually explain. So I'll give you a special discount and only charge you 10 damas for the tour fee. Thank you for your patronage.
I guess he pours his heart into aggressive salesmanship, too.
Come to think of it, Miss Maya told me she could tell I love my country too. We sat here for about an hour while I told her all about the Holy Mother.
Really? An hour? Hope that counted as patience training.
She seemed really interested too. She listened to my whole speech.
Huh. That doesn't sound like the Maya I know at all.
Maya's so kind and nice. Treats me really well, like a little brother. Kinda like a big sister to me.
This is Maya Fey you're talking about, right? Maybe she's grown up since I last saw her. Oh, it's the bell. That means you all died.
Oh no!
What's the matter?
Is it that time already? We have to hurry into the temple right away. But first, let me give you this lyric card for the song ceremony I told you about. There's an English translation of the lyrics there too, so give it a read, okay? Let's go!
But why the big rush?
If we don't hurry, we'll miss the beginning of her benevolence dance of devotion.
Her benevolence? Too many words. Ah, it's gutsy. Good, I don't have to talk. Phoenix's expressions in these games are always so funny to me. Oh wow, dragon, that's in my name. Tiger, that's something that I fight. How did we get in before everyone else when we got here late? Oh no! Wait, what? Uh-oh. Hello, CG animation. Oh god!
I'll be your guy. You're under arrest for treason.
Hi, Kyle Abear. How are you doing?
You failure.
Wow, just have that look of disgust in her eyes. Maybe she did the murder, and it wasn't actually the Jesus dude. High Court of Kurain. Accused lobby. Let me in! Why would you let me in? Because you're a foreigner. What business could you have with this court? I told you, my friend is on trial in there. The police raided the temple in the middle of the dance performance yesterday and arrested Albie on suspicion of treason. I was worried about Albie, so I just had to come see his trial. The trials and the tourist attractions will clear off. You want a picture of your scrapbook? Take one of me and get out of here. Look, you got it all wrong. Just great. Well, there's only one thing to do. Tell him I'm a lawyer. Yes, I'm a foreigner, but I'm not your average foreigner. What? I'm actually a lawyer! Back at home, anyway. What? Lawyer? I can't. That's not possible. What's he so shocked about? Well, whatever. Now's my chance. Nothing wrong with a lawyer entering the courtroom, right? Wait, get back here, you! Oh my god, it was Larry all along! Oh god dang it, so this is a coroner's courtroom. Gasp in pain, why are you here? Wait, isn't that her benevolence? What's she doing here in court? I'm not the judge! I'll be getting the same judge voice though, because I think it's fitting. The divination seance has been performed. I will now hand down my verdict against the accused. Guilty! What? A verdict already? But the trial only just started.
Guilty? There's gotta be some kind of mistake. Please take another look.
Seances performed by Princess Wright are infallible. They show only the truth. What right do you have to question her abilities?
But I didn't...
Isn't it ironic that you, a devout adherent of Curanism, would dare doubt her insight? Non-believers will only be met with suffering in the Twilight Realm, you know.
But I didn't do it. Your benevolence. Allow me to explain, I beg of you.
No. Be silent, impudent whelp. There's no merit to be had in indulging the ramblings born of a criminal's unclean soul.
But...
What in the world's going on here? The judge made his ruling based on something called a divination seance? What is Albie's attorney doing? Wait a minute. There is no attorney. Where is Albie's attorney?
Why is this happening? I didn't do anything wrong.
Foolish child. Doubting the divination seance is tantamount to doubting the Holy Mother herself. God, I can't read, sorry. Your Majesty, as royal priestess in the name of the Holy Mother, I command you. Impose the highest penalty against this unclean soul.
As you command, so it shall be done, your benevolence. May your holiness grant his divine favor. Do you hear a Curian? I don't like... Yeah! What? I'm in the defense bench. Yeah! Wait just one moment.
Yeah, you're my arch nemesis.
Ugh, me and my big mouth. Now what?
Mr. Wright? What are you doing here, sir?
Well, I'm in it now, so I have to do this right. Ooh, they updated my sprite, yo. Your Honor, it's too soon to give your verdict. The trial's only been underway for a few minutes. Excuse me, who on earth are you? Well... an ordinary tourist, Your Honor, just passing through. Ah, a tourist, are you? How breaking. But more importantly, where is this boy's defense attorney? Defense attorney. Whatever you're talking about. He doesn't need a defense attorney. What is a defense attorney? Wait, what? Of course you wouldn't be aware, being a foreigner and all. But we have no need for defense attorneys here in the kingdom of Kurain. We just leave it all up to her benevolent sacred power of spirit communion. Her divination seances determine all. What? But surely you see how unfair that is. What kind of insane court system are they running here?
You dare mock me, you barb-headed buffoon.
Why does everyone attack my hair?
If you value your life, you will leave post-haste. Or shall I summon the bailiff?
Bailiff is that big scary dude with the big scary gun, isn't he?
I'm sure he would be happy to oblige you with a bullet or two as a souvenir of your travels.
At the cost of an arm and a leg, no doubt.
Now hold on! Mr. Wright has nothing to do with any of this.
Albie!
I appreciate what you're trying to do, Mr. Wright. But never mind about me. You just go ahead and go see Miss Maya.
But...
Forget about me. You have to go now. I'm sure you can find another guide. There were lots more places I wanted to show you. But it looks like I won't get a chance now. I'm sorry.
The poor kid. He's trying to put on a brave face, but look how terrified he is. What can I do? What should I do? Defend Albie. I can't just let a verdict be handed down with nobody standing in Albie's corner. If Albie doesn't have a defense attorney, then I'll do it. I'll defend him. Defend him? You can't be serious.
Did you hear that?
Is he out of his mind?
Heaven forbid. Defend me? Mr. Wright, what are you saying? You can't do that.
I most certainly can. Don't worry, I'm quite used to tackling all sorts of trials. Besides, can you imagine how furious Maya would be if I let anything happen to you?
Mr. Wright.
You are but a naive tourist, ignorant of our ways. But if you are smart, you will heed my advice. Do not pursue this matter any further. Looks like defending somebody is easier said than done in this country. Bailiff, throw this man out! Oh.
Hold it! Your Majesty, if you please.
You have something to say, Mr. Payne?
Huh. Why not allow it, Your Majesty? Why not have him defend the accused? It could prove very interesting, right, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Right. Mr. Whoever you are. He doesn't even know who he is. Prosecutor, are you acquainted with this traveler?
That's Chief Prosecutor, Your Majesty. And yes, I am acquainted with him. He's a defense attorney from my native land. I've had dealings with him in the courtroom before. Heavens to Betsy. What? Mr. Wright, you're a defense attorney?
Didn't I say that? A defense attorney? Wow, this is a shock. You may be surprised here that I have more than 10 years of experience. Yes, there aren't all that many lawyers around here.
Your Majesty, would you kindly allow us to proceed in the manner of my old country?
But Mr. Payne, I've already made a ruling in this case.
Call it nostalgia, if you will, but I'm most eager to give it a try.
But I have a previous engagement, you see? Class together with the missus.
Your Majesty, I agree we should have a whack at it. It sounds amusing. A score of years has been passed since we last saw a defense attorney in this courtroom.
A score? As in 20 years? What's the deal with this country?
Mr. Payne, I want that barbed head brought to me on a stick. As you wish, Your Benevolence. I, Chief Prosecutor Payne, will see to it myself.
Very well, Mr. Payne. If that is what you and your benevolence want, I will acquiesce. As for the defense, hope you are prepared for every eventuality. Every eventuality? What is he talking about?
There, are you satisfied now, Mr. Wright?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Payne. And sorry for not remembering you earlier.
That's Chief Prosecutor, or the Incredible Payne, as I'm also known in this country. And you'll see soon enough just why that is, when you're forced to capitulate to me before this very court of law.
Why is he so strangely confident? And not only that, but what's with the gallery? Just you watch, the defense attorney will try and twist the truth. You can bet on it.
Get him, Chief Prosecutor!
Across the defense desk. This is way more lawyer hate than ever back home. Oh, they probably had a bad experience with the lawyer, didn't they? Oh! Now, if you would please give your opening argument once again, Mr. Payne.
Certainly, your majesty. The accused is charged with 2 crimes, larceny and murder. Yesterday, the Founder's Orb was stolen from the treasure room of Temple. In addition to the theft, 2 other things were discovered in the treasure room. The dead body of Mr. Pat Roll, Temple security guard, and the empty treasure box that housed the orb, which Mr. Roll was in charge of guarding.
To kill a guard armed with a gun, what a terrifyingly bold act.
I couldn't agree more, your majesty. Please allow me to submit as evidence the victim's autopsy report and crime photo.
Okay. Okay. Been a long time since we had evidence presented in court as well. Kind of refreshing, actually.
We may rely on the power of the seances, but our police still carry out investigations. Thus, any proof I provide is indisputable.
Oh, really? Well, forgive me if I don't just take your word for it. I can check the evidence out myself. You're playing the last game of the series, stupid. Such a deplorable crime. The audacity of stealing the sacred treasure of Her Holiness, our founding mother. This crime that strikes at the very heart of our nation.
Exactly, your majesty. We mustn't let the culprit get away with these heinous deeds. Indeed, such deeds are best described as treason against the crown.
Is this treasure really such a valuable object? How can you even ask such a thing? Of course it is! Why, sealed within the treasure is the very soul, the minima of our Holy Mother. Her soul is sealed within the treasure? I think I'll take that with a grain of salt. Oh, you don't believe it, do you? Of course I believe it! Something tells me I'd better play along. Huh. This kind of irreverence is exactly why I dislike defense attorneys so much. Your Honor? Your Majesty. What is it now? This treasure. I've never seen it, so it's a little hard for me to imagine. Can I see a photo of it or something? Of all the outlandish requests, your defense attorneys are truly beyond the pale. He's been getting awfully angry with me. You know those veins popping out of his forehead.
It's forbidden for anyone outside the royal family to view the treasure itself. They say that anyone without the proper spiritual power would be blinded instantly. That is why the average person has never seen the treasure, Mr. Wright.
I guess there are national treasures that are off limits to the public back home, too.
For the benefit of the shameless, uninformed defense, let me share this newspaper article. It includes photos taken about 8 years ago when the treasure was unearthed. These are the only public photos of the outer box in existence. What's more, the treasure box only leaves the temple's treasure room for but once a year, for a special New Year's rite that takes place at the palace. Therefore, this treasure box has only ever been seen by a handful of people.
I hear there's been a string of thefts lately of historic artifacts from the temple.
Right, your majesty. Inexcusable thievery of precious national treasures for personal gain. And the culprit is the accused.
So he used his position as monk in training to get his hands on the treasure. Is that it?
The accused's family is by no means wealthy. To help with family finances, he works as a tour guide in addition to his ascetic training.
Thank you for giving an excellent outline of the case, Mr. Payne. Now then, no more questions from the defense, I presume? What? No, I do have questions! Even more? Well, you just asked a bunch. Well, make it snappy. My class starts in just a few short minutes. What? He's still planning on going to that thing? There's still a lot I don't know about the case. I should ask now while I have the chance. Let's see, what else do I need to know more about? The weapon, I guess? We already know what it is, but whatever. Mr. Payne, what's the murder weapon?
The murder weapon was the treasure box itself. The empty treasure box left the scene had a large bloodstain on it.
Utterly reprehensible using the sacred treasure box for murder! Ah!
The accused came to the treasure room with the express purpose of stealing the treasure. He climbed the altar stairs and snatched the box, ready to abscond the treasure. But he was discovered by Mr. Roll, who had come to the room in the course of his rounds. After walloping Mr. Roll in the head with the treasure box, the accused had forced the bloodied housing open and made off with the treasure inside.
Okay. But the defendant is just a little boy. I hardly think he would be able to hit the victim, a grown man, on the head.
Ah, very good point, Mr. Wright. But I'm afraid that won't help you. At the time of the crime, the accused was on the stair leading up to the altar. The accused's elevated position would more than make up for their difference in stature.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Ha 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 ha! Mr. Payne, your reasoning is flawless. What an elegant argument. Hats off to you, Chief Prosecutor. Your title is obviously well earned. Well, the accused's guilt is certainly conclusive. Unless there's anything else, I am ready to announce my verdict. Very well. In that case, find the accused.
Just one moment, Your Majesty. Don't you think you're rushing the verdict just a little bit?
No, I don't. I told you. I have plans to attend to, and... Ah! I'm late. It's already started. How'd the time fly by so fast?
He's still stuck on that? We haven't even heard the defendant's side of the story yet. Your Majesty, the defense asserts its right to cross-examine the defendant. Where did he go? Huh? Did I say something funny?
Cross-examine the... What do you mean by that?
What? What do you mean, what do I mean?
I seem to have some dim recollection of the process, but I can't quite recall.
A little wonder. A so-called defendant hasn't been questioned in over 20 years.
Should I even be surprised anymore? Anyway, I demand we let the defendant or the accused tell his side of the story.
Is that really necessary?
Of course it's necessary, Your Majesty.
What harm can it do? I say we allow the boy to speak, Your Majesty, though I doubt he'll have anything of relevance to say.
Oh, how kind of you, Your Royal Paynness.
Very well, as long as it's okay with you, Mr. Payne. I'm already hopelessly late for my class anyway.
In that case, the prosecution calls the accuser back to the witness stand.
Oh, we made him sit down, sorry.
Oh, but before I do, I better call my wife and apologize for missing that class. Any objections?
To that? No. Go for it, Your Majesty.
Hi, sorry.
Okay, I'm back up here now. Accuser, state your name and occupation again, if you would.
I'll be your guide.
I've been trained to be a monk, and I'm a tour guide, too.
Ah, why me? Now, where were we?
Cross-examining the defendant, Your Honor. Majesty, sorry.
Right. Let's do that then. At the defense attorney's insistence, I might add.
Ugh. Sounds a little dispirited. Your wife must have given him a piece of her mind.
Well, the defense had better get to it. Make it quick, if you please.
The defense? Mr. Wright, I didn't know you were a lawyer.
Well, I am, and I'm here to defend you, Albie. Don't worry. All you have to do is tell the truth, and you'll be alright.
You tricked me.
What?
If I knew you were a lawyer, I wouldn't have given you that tour. Give back that megaton I gave you yesterday.
Albie, what's gotten into you?
Don't talk to me. You disgust me.
Now even Albie's against me. But why?
This must be a new experience for you, Mr. Wright, being loathed by a client.
Honestly, I don't think so.
Now then, accused, please give the court your testimony. The incident occurred around noon, during the break between the morning and afternoon dances of devotion. I want you to tell the court what you were doing around that time. Alright.
Oh. Oh, this is cool. I like this. Witness testimony. The accused account.
I didn't kill Mr. Roll, and I didn't steal the treasure. I'm not allowed to go anywhere near the treasure room. But I've never even seen that treasure box with the green Chinese butterfly on it. When that incident happened, I was in the hallway planning out my tour route.
I already see the contradiction. But we have this paper! Were you well acquainted with the victim?
Yes, he used to chat with me whenever we ran into each other in the temple. Mr. Roll was a monk in training when he was a kid too, you know?
But all we looked up to him.
But he had to give that up and go to work when his family needed money. That's why he became a guard. But at least that way he could still stay on the temple. He was so proud when he was put in charge of guarding the treasure box. He even got to carry the box to the palace for the New Year's rite. The victim's parents apparently both died relatively young, so Mr. Roll had to support his younger brothers and sisters as well. But even with his job as a security guard, I'm sure things couldn't have been easy for him.
Sounds like the circumstances in Albi's were very similar.
Mr. Roll encouraged me to never give up. Albie, you trained hard to make sure you become a monk one day. Don't end up like me, he'd say. He was always cheering me on in my training, and in my tour guide business too. Why in the world would I kill a nice man like that?
Yes, I see. You expressed yourself well. Defense, now that you've heard the accused's account, are you finally satisfied? So, the straw is to an expeditious conclusion. But your Majesty, I haven't even cross-examined the defendant yet. That wasn't the end of it? Oh, it's been so long, I don't really recall what this cross-examining thing is all about. A judge who doesn't know what a cross-examination is. What fresh hell is this? I'm dying. I really do wish I could remember how it works. Should I give the judge a refresher on cross-examination? No. I'd better save my breath. The judge doesn't exactly seem like a model student. He'll just have to watch and see how it's done. That was like, do you want a tutorial on how to do this game? And it was like, no, you're probably going to tell me anyways, but no.
Objection!
Boom! Oh, Albie, why would you lie to me? See, say you've never laid eyes on the treasure box, is that right?
That's right. It's forbidden, so I'd never do that.
In that case, how did you know there was a green butterfly on it?
Huh? Because I saw the picture of it in that newspaper article.
No. Nope. Take another look. These photos are in black and white. You couldn't possibly tell what color the butterfly is from these pictures. Hold on. His bag. Did it just move? Polkunka. I beg your pardon?
Polkunka is a word in the Koreanese that people use when they're surprised.
You just exposed a lie, so this is the power of the cross-examination, is it? I should be the one shocked here by your shocking lack of understanding. But, just a moment. If the accused is lying, then that just makes him more suspicious than ever. Ugh. And this just makes things worse for me than ever. Albie, are you hiding something? Please give only true statements. I can't help you if you don't tell the truth. Darn, I just can't seem to get him to open up to me.
So, accused, you have seen the treasure before with your own eyes after all, haven't you? Well, maybe I did take a peek one time a long time ago when I was cleaning the treasure room.
But you weren't in the treasure room at the time of the incident, right?
Of course I wasn't.
Objection!
That is a lie. You were most definitely inside the treasure room on the day of the incident. And I have proof.
He does?
This was found on the floor of the treasure room. It's a scroll entitled Notice, and it contains a list of temple monk duties. These instructions pertain to the day of the incident.
And what exactly is that supposed to prove?
The accused's fingerprints were found on the scroll.
What?
Oh no! Where is it? It's not here! I must have dropped it somewhere.
Indeed. You must have dropped it when you were busy murdering the victim.
Well, that's not good for us. No. Then that means Ollie was there on the day of the incident. Ha ha ha! So this is the power of cross-examination. The more the accused talks, the guiltier he finds himself.
Yes, it would seem so, Your Majesty.
Arg. He predicted my argument and had evidence ready to refute it. How is any of that supposed to help the accused?
See, I told you can't trust lawyers and their lies.
Benevolence already said the kid's guilty.
Just declare him guilty and get it over with. No, everything's going all wrong. Shadow, what do I do?
As I suspected, the cross-examination session has served no purpose whatsoever. No, you're wrong. But armed as we are with our benevolence insight, there's no reason to doubt his guilt. And I guess I'll just have to poke holes in this insight of hers. By the way, this didn't prove to be very interesting at all, Mr. Payne. Nevertheless, I will now finally announce my verdict.
Wait just one moment, Your Majesty. I haven't seen this divination seance for myself yet. As the defense, I have the right to check it.
Is that really necessary? I had to get home and apologize to my wife.
I guess she really did give him the business.
Your Majesty, I enthusiastically support having Mr. Wright see the seance.
You do? And why is that, Mr. Payne?
Don't you want to see it? See the lawyer being utterly crushed by the power of the seance. And then watch him tearfully beg for mercy.
Well now.
I'm sure it'll make up for not getting to go to that class with your wife.
Certainly does sound worth seeing. And it gave me a juicy tidbit to tell the missus. Ha 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 ha.
I've been reduced to a juicy tidbit.
Well, for an interloper, I imagine you do have to see it yourself to be convinced. It's certainly unprecedented, but let's have the divination seance performed again. But then, right after this tearful begging, I really do have to be going.
The only tearful begging is going to come from the prosecution when we're through.
How pitiful the defense looks, still scrambling desperately for a foothold. Blissfully unaware that defeat and despair are all that await him.
Cutscene? Maybe? There she is, her benevolence, who we know is Rafa now.
Your benevolence, Rafa Padma Kareen. Thank you for coming all this way once again.
Your gratitude is unnecessary. This is simply my duty. Barb-headed attorney.
Yes?
I am told you question the veracity of the sacred divination seance. Why am I talking so slowly? It would seem the depths of your irreverence and blasphemy are lost on you.
I'm just a foreigner, ignorant in the ways and customs of this country. I apologize in advance for anything rude I might say or do, Your Benevolence. All I want is a fair trial for Ollie.
You would imply that the trials in this country are unfair. Do explain, outsider. How verdicts founded on truths imparted by how the very souls of the dead lack impartiality.
What's fair about trials with no defense and no chance for the accused to tell their story?
How dare you speak to her benevolence in that manner?
Did you hear that? Did you hear how he talked to her benevolence? What does he know about anything? Ignorant outsider. Yikes, looks like I really stuck my foot in it this time.
Punish him! Punish him!
Silence, one and all.
Hey, that's my line. Don't steal that. Silence.
Be not disquieted, my people. He merely expresses his opinion.
Well, looks like your benevolence is going to be more reasonable than I thought.
Attorneys are ghastly creatures, with souls stained by brazen untruths. The words of a lowly worm such as that are not worth troubling yourselves over.
Alright, I take that back.
None of his prattling can sway the truth of my insights. Rest assured, he will soon see the error of his foolish ways.
Now then, your benevolence. The divination seance, if you would.
Certainly. Nana, my robe.
Got it.
Oh, you're welcome.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes
Voice
of
acting.
everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of
What does that
devotion,
mean?
guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Whoa. Hello everyone, and welcome to my playthrough of Persona 4 Dancing. Whoa. Is that thing glowing or am I going insane? Whoa! Uh-oh. Oh! Incense. Song of ceremony, boy's voice. Oh. Pain! What just happened? An image appeared in the pool. A final message from the victim's soul. The last communication of his minima. The divination seance has revealed this to us.
Her benevolence can use her power of spirit communion to protect the victim's memory on the last few months before their demise.
So what we saw in the pool is what Mr. Roll actually experienced.
In the victim's memories, we see the accused raise a weapon over his head. This is consistent with the findings of the police investigation. There has to be some kind of mistake. I didn't do it.
This looks bad for Albie. Really, really bad.
Ha ha ha. Now you see why I'm in incredible pain.
More than I can express. But even if those really are the victim's last memories, what can I do with them?
Ha 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 ha. There it is. There's the face of a man being utterly crushed. Oh, how long I've waited to see it. Isn't it wonderfully gratifying, your majesty?
Oh, yes, very satisfying indeed. Now are you finally convinced, traveler? The accused is most assertively guilty. Am I really the only unbiased one here? Now then, I think we've been amused enough. If you give up now, I won't even invoke the Defense Culpability Act against you. You'll be free to slink back in your own country with your tail between your legs. The Defense Culpability Act? What's that? What? You mean you honestly don't know? No. It means you die. What's with all the hubbub?
Well. Not only is he a lying, black-hearted lawyer, he's also an imbecile. Your Majesty, I think you'd better explain the Defense Culpability Act to him.
Yes, I think I'd better. The Defense Culpability Act, or DC Act for short, is as follows. In the name of Her Eminence, those who support criminals will be deemed just as guilty. In other words, if you help the accused by defending him and he is found guilty, you will receive the same sentence as he. What? What kind of insane law is that? Under the DC Act, many attorney has been convicted and met with a grim fate. Some went to prison, others received the death penalty. That's why there are so few in our country today who admit to being an attorney.
Huh. That's as it should be. The history of our courts proves that. Attorneys are black-souled creatures who would tell any lie to save the accused. Thus, attorneys deserve to be exterminated.
You guys realize attorney can be used for both a prosecutor and a defense, right? Like a district attorney. I've never felt so much hostility coming at me from so many sides. Wonder what could have happened to make everyone feel this way.
You fell right into my trap, Phoenix Wright. Your win streak against me and my brother ends today. With the seance and the DC Act on my side, I'll finally get my revenge.
So that's why you're so eager to have me defend Albie.
Chased down and humiliated back home, fate brought me to the foothills of Kurain. I thank my lucky stars that I'm chief prosecutor here now.
Defense, know that if I rule the accused as guilty, you will go to prison too. That explains Albie's reaction earlier.
Defend me, Mr. Wright. What are you saying? You can't do that. Your Majesty, isn't a prison sentence a bit lenient? After all, we're talking about treason. One should pay for such a crime with one's life.
Yes, I believe the death penalty might be appropriate under these circumstances. The death penalty? No way. How old is this kid? You're kidding, right, Your Majesty? Oh, you think I'm kidding? Do I look like I'm kidding? I'll have you put your life and your dark tainted soul on the line here. Death? This can't be happening.
The courts of resignation. Our courts are well known as thus. In this land where my seances provide the truth and no attorneys can intervene, criminals know that all they can do is resign themselves to their fate.
Oh, foreign lawyer, I ask you once more. Are you sure you still want to defend the accused? There's mine to think of in all this, too. I can't just lay down my life. What in the world should I do? No, continue the defense. Isn't this why I became a lawyer in the first place? Yeah, to help those with no one on their side. I can't just abandon everything I believe in. All I can do now is stand firm and fight.
Well, don't hold your tears back on my account, Phoenix Wright. I'm here to feed and grovel before me, the chief prosecutor, for your life.
Even if it means being subject to the Defense Culpability Act, I will defend Albie.
What? But Mr. Wright!
The defendant insists he's innocent, and not even a divination seance should be accepted without examination. Polkunga!
But if I'm found guilty, you'll get the death penalty too. Even knowing that, you still want to defend me?
I don't know what happened in the past, but it looks like everyone in this country considers lawyers to be liars. so I can understand if you don't believe me. But I still believe in you and your innocence. So all I have to do is keep believing and find the truth. That's all there is to it.
Barb-headed attorney, you continue to amuse me. Though your barbed jabs are proving to be more than mere jokes.
Your benevolence. Believe me when I say that this attorney will knock your insides out.
Insolent, disrespectful attorney. You'll have plenty of time to regret your folly in the Twilight Realm.
Not a wise move, traveler. Not wise at all. You should have taken the chance I offered to save your life. But you have made your choice. The Defense Culpability Act will be applied in this case. And with this verdict, you'll both soon be parting with your heads. Wow, you guys are mean. No.
The souls of the departed speak only the truth, and I but give their message a voice. If you think my insights contain falsehood, I challenge you to prove it.
Oh. Whoa! Really? Insight. Rafa's insight.
The accused swung whatever he was holding down on the victim's head. With the pain, the victim's vision went dark. This is when he lost his life. Still, I can't believe it. A murder after the morning dance of devotion.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? After.
These are victim experiences just before death.
As victim's final memories, we can assume they aren't lies. So how do I break this down?
Allow me to relieve you of your ignorance, defense. Did you notice the words that appeared in the seance's vision?
Yeah, I did. Come to think of it, I did see words, like Song of Ceremony and Incense. Boy's voice.
The victim's final memories are not limited to sight alone. Sight, smell, taste, and smell, sight, taste, sound, touch. All is laid bare in the pool of souls.
So Mr. will experience with his five senses appeared in the vision as well, right?
Precisely. And by examining these sensations, we can perceive the truth, the victim's final moments with unparalleled clarity.
Works for me. I can use all the extra information I can get. Now to find a contradiction between her insights and the seance vision. Your benevolence, I ask that you please show me the seance vision again.
Very well.
Oh, because he said, yeah, the time is off, right? Incense. Song, ceremony, boy's voice, where is it? Later on he says, boy's voice. Pain. Oh wait, I thought he said another thing earlier. Wait a minute. Her benevolence said after the morning dance of devotion earlier, didn't she? Isn't there something off about that? First, I'll swipe my way to the insight that seems off. Yes, this is the insight that sounded funny. Now I'll just carefully compare this insight with the seance vision. If I notice a sensation that seems contradictory, I'll tap select. This is it. This is the part of the vision that contradicts the insight. Now I just select the sensation I think is inconsistent and press present.
Objection!
Boom! Wait just a moment!
Yes? What is it, Barbed Head?
You're saying the incident occurred after the morning dance of devotion, right?
That's right. What of it?
Then isn't it strange that Mr. Roll could still hear the song of ceremony? Oh my, you're absolutely right! Oh, yo, defense raids are cool, dude.
Huh. Is that all that troubles you?
Huh?
What the victim heard was just a practice run of the Song of Ceremony.
Practice run? What are you talking about?
Mr. Payne, if you would. Certainly. Allow me to explain. The incident occurred in the interval between the morning and afternoon dances. During that time, the singers were practicing in the performance hall. Precisely. I was there as well.
So I can corroborate this statement.
I see. So what the victim heard was a practice session.
Ugh, there goes my contradiction. Okay, so they were practicing in this performance hall. That must be the room where Albie and I saw her benevolence dancing.
However, Mr. Payne, I admit one detail troubles me.
Ask away, your majesty, magistry.
It's a big temple. The performance hall and the treasure room are quite far from each other. Could the song really be heard all the way in the treasure room?
He's right. It's a very big temple. Well, how about it, Mr. Payne?
Your majesty, have you forgotten? There are speakers in every room of Temple, including the treasure room.
Oh, that's right.
Speakers? For what purpose?
Are you serious, Mr. Wright? They're to broadcast the sacred music at the performance hall throughout the temple. That's why the victim could hear the Song of Ceremony in the seance vision. It was the practice run going on in the performance hall, heard over the speakers.
Thank you for your explanation, your benevolence. That makes perfect sense, even to a feeble-minded old man like me.
Think nothing of it.
Now, if you wouldn't mind, could you please alter your insights for us?
Very well.
Insight revised. The accused still can't believe it. Song ceremony of the victim heard was a practice run through the temple's speakers. I think I'm getting the hang of this. If I point out an inconsistency, she'll update her insights accordingly. So if I keep pointing things out, maybe we can knock all of her insights out after all. I better find another inconsistency, no matter how small. Okay. It's a bit hard to focus on the insights with the seance vision going. I'll try using the pause button to temporarily stop the vision. Okay. Oh, pause. There, I paused the vision. I think I can tap the flashing panels to jump to different parts of the vision. Okay. I'll try and... Okay, I don't either. Okay, now that I know how to... Okay. Seance vision, sound of...
Objection!
There we go. You're saying the victim's field of vision went dark right after he was struck, correct?
Of course, as anyone with eyes can see.
Well, pardon me, but I must disagree.
What?
Your benevolence, please take another look at the exact moment the victim felt pain.
Oh!
Everything goes black, and then only after that the victim feels pain.
Inconceivable!
This places the order of events at odds with what you say happened.
My word!
Paul Conca, your benevolence, what is the meaning of this?
I cannot be wrong. My insights are beyond fallacy.
If what the defense says is true, this is a very grave matter indeed. Please forgive me, your benevolence, but I'm afraid this contradiction is something we simply can't ignore.
Now, let's not be too hasty, Your Majesty. I think I can clear this up.
You have something to add, Mr. Payne?
1,000 apologies. It seems the prosecution has failed to make one tiny thing clear.
And that would be...
On the day of the incident, there was a power outage, a blackout in one part of the temple. As I recall, crimes used in that sector. The power outage must be why the victim's field of vision went dark. I apologize for neglecting to tell the court this detail. I'm afraid it slipped my mind.
Or rather, you knew all along and are only letting it slip now that's convenient, Bane.
The power outage knocked out both the lights and the speakers. Oh, there was a blackout there, was there? Well now. That explains everything, does it not?
Well, what do you mean, Your Benevolence? Please share your thoughts with us, if you would.
Blackout occurred when the accused and the victim were faced with one another. Fearing the victim would flee under the cover of darkness, the accused swiftly brought his weapon down on the victim's head.
I see. That makes perfect sense, Your Benevolence.
So the victim was struck after the lights went out. The depths of your insight is awe-inspiring, Your Benevolence. Give her a hand, everyone.
Well done. Long may you live and prosper.
Hey, I want to live long and prosper too.
Enough applause. You flatter me.
Now, Your Benevolence, in light of this new information...
Yes, of course. I will alter my insight.
Insight revised. But now, that doesn't make sense. The moment after the blackout began. Okay. So much for my inconsistency. At least I was able to draw out some new info. And with new info comes a chance to find new inconsistencies. Now to compare the insights with the vision again. Alright. So this time... Alright.
Objection!
Boom! Yes, I finally found it. This is the gaping hole I've been looking for. Your benevolence, as impressive as your spirit communion power is, it's not infallible.
You never know when to stop talking, do you? I hope you realize your words are an insult to all adherents of Kura-inism.
Defense, watch what you say. If you don't mind that tongue of yours, you won't have one left to mind.
It's certainly not my intention to insult spirit mediums, but maybe I'm not the one who needs to learn when to stop talking.
What malarkey?
I believe you said a few moments ago that the victim could hear the song of ceremony thanks to the temple's speakers. But then, how do you explain how the victim could still hear the song of ceremony even after the power went out?
Oh!
This contradiction of facts can only mean that the song ceremony Mr. Roll heard was not coming from the speakers.
What? Impossible!
What are you saying? The song that he heard was coming directly from the performance hall.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the only possible explanation.
But the scene of the crime was nowhere near the performance hall.
Right. The song couldn't make it all the way to the treasure room. Not unless...
You mean to say...
Yes, the treasure room was not the actual scene of the crime. It must have been somewhere else, somewhere closer to the performance hall.
What?
You can't be serious.
There's a glaring contradiction in the claims of benevolence in the prosecution. Therefore, the defense insists that this case be thoroughly re-examined.
What? No.
This is completely unprecedented. An inconsistency in our benevolence's insights. Unbelievable.
Heed not to his forked tongue, your majesty. These are but the claims of a corrupt lawyer. A feeble ruse from a feeble mind.
But the contradiction revealed by the defense is undeniable. We can't just turn a blind eye to it.
The defense's assertion is, in the end, meaningless. Even though the location of the murder turned out to be different, it doesn't change what we've seen at the moment of the murder. Indeed, the accused is standing right there in front of the victim. Furthermore, the murder weapon remains raised above his head. My insights still stand.
I hate to admit it, but she's right. The Seance vision still makes the situation look really grim for Albie.
I doubt even the defense can dream of an explanation as to why. The accused has a hand up over his head.
Well, this defense dares to dream of making it out of this nightmare alive.
You what? You still insist on trying to tear down my insights, do you? You better be prepared to back up your claim. Remember what will happen to that tongue of yours if we find you are just wagging it.
Of course I can back up my claim, just as soon as I think of something.
You appear to be fully prepared, defense. As the embodiment of this court, I give you permission to try and prove your claim, as long as you're willing to stake your life on it.
I concur, your majesty. Prepare the tongue of shears. Chop chop.
Chop chop?
Yes, let's have the bailiff fetch them. I think I saw a suitable pair in the basement. Chop chop.
Stop. Stop!
I hear that lying lawyers have several tongues to spare. I'm sure he won't miss one.
Yikes! These people are actually serious. I'm rather attached to my tongue. Think, Phoenix, think. Other than to raise a weapon, why would Albie have his hands up like that? Oh, he was raising his hands? Aha, so that's why. The reason the defendant had his hands up over his head can be explained by something in the crime photo. Oh, the gun. I understand.
Take that!
As in the seance vision, I witnessed the defendant raise both of his hands over his head yesterday.
You did? Where did you see such a thing?
When the police had their guns trained on him as they made their arrest.
Oh, are you saying?
The victim was a security guard, and an armed one at that. The defense proposes that the victim had pointed his firearm at Albie. And that's why the defendant's hands were raised in the air.
Polkunka! Who would have thought the seance vision could be interpreted that way? This is not possible. It can't be.
Not bad for a total knockout.
How dare that lower devil go against our benevolence? He's no better than that traitorous snake Dirk.
Dirk? Traitorous snake? Dirk? Who's that?
No, I can't believe it. A contradiction in one of my insights. There has to be some kind of mistake. I won't accept it. That's right, your benevolence, and I won't accept it either. Goes against all we hold sacred. Throw him in jail immediately for least majesty.
What?
Yeah, you said it. Throw him in jail.
Yes, he can pay for the way he disrespected our benevolence.
Ugh, these people are definitely not my fans right now.
That's right, exterminate him.
Why are you there, Monokuma?
I don't know, I decided to show up.
Peace, give me peace. I said peace! Now, everyone, please calm down.
Huh? Is he?
Your Majesty, please assign this black-hearted attorney a suitable punishment.
No. No, I can't charge him with least majesty.
What? What? But why not, your Majesty?
He was simply following the proper procedure for defending the accused. There is nothing unlawful about that.
But your Majesty, don't you want to wrap the trial up quickly? Why not just give your verdict? Then you can go home and make it up to your wife. I hit the wrong button.
We can't end the trial now. Not when we just learn new information about the case.
What? Your Majesty, not you too. You would honestly entertain the idea that my insight contains a contradiction.
Truly, it is shocking. In the 20 plus years since the DC Act went into effect, such a thing has never occurred. To be honest, I didn't want to believe it either. but with his life on the line, the defense pointed out an inconsistency. It is our duty to scrutinize it to the satisfaction of the law.
You dare go against the royal priestess, you non-believer?
No, my faith is as strong as ever, but I have a duty to make a fair ruling in this trial. If you insist on interfering with that process, your benevolence, I'm afraid I must request your removal from this courtroom, royal priestess or not.
What? I'll have you know.
Your benevolence! Please acquiesce in this, your benevolence.
If looks to kill, I won't forget this offense, barbed head. I do not admit defeat. I won't.
Bailiff, please do your benevolence out.
Your Minima will face due retribution in the Twilight Realm. The demons there they'll pluck the barbs right off your stupid head. I hope your suffering will be super duper painful. And I hope they throw you into a lake of burning fire. Yeah, and then.
Well, that was weird. I guess she's still just a teenager after all.
Now then, defense. Mr. Wright, was it?
That's right, your majesty. Phoenix Wright.
Of course, Mr. Wright. My apologies. Well, now that we have this newly uncovered fact, I suggest we proceed with arguments.
Thank you, your majesty.
Yes, but do not misunderstand me. This doesn't mean I trust you completely. I'll be keeping a close eye on you, so don't even think about lying to this court.
I understand, your majesty. Woo! Maybe now we can finally run a real trial.
Ha 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 ha. Argument, your majesty. Very well, I accept your challenge.
Huh? What's with him?
Ha ha ha. Oh, the look on your face, Mr. Wright. It's just too hilarious.
What's so funny, Mr. Payne?
The defense still doesn't get it. The truth he unearthed is going to bury him in his case instead.
What do you mean by that, prosecutor?
I told you it's chief prosecutor.
Yes, because that's the point to focus on right now.
The defense is digging its own grave. Consider this, your majesty. Why would the victim, a security guard, point a gun at the accused?
Oh!
Oh, indeed. Because the accused was about to commit a theft. It's the only logical explanation.
What? That does sound pretty logical, actually.
It doesn't help the accused situation at all. If anything, it makes him look even more guilty.
Yes, I have to agree.
Allow me to spell out this truth the defense didn't bother to think through. Mr. Roll came across the accused just as he was trying to steal the treasure. The guard pointed his gun at the accused, and just when the power went out, the accused murdered the victim and hid his body in the treasure room.
Ugh. Wait, what? Doesn't make any sense at all.
A hand truck for moving heavy treasure around is stored in the treasure room. The accused could have moved the body with that.
And for all that hard work to knock down those insights. Back in the old familiar corner once more.
Mr. Wright, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes. Ugh. I'm drawing a total blank here.
I hope you're ready to climb that scaffold.
I asked you a question, defense.
I've got nothing. I can't think of any grounds for an objection. The only thing to do at this point is ask the defendant himself what happened. But I don't know if Albie will cooperate with me or not. Ugh, Albie. Will you tell us what really happened?
You don't have to say anything, accused. Fall for his evil trap and you'll only dirty your own soul.
Albie, you have to tell me the truth. I can't help you unless you do.
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry.
Why? Why won't he trust me? Is this it? Is this the end? For both of us? Maya, I'm sorry.
I never met a real lawyer before. Everybody always told me they're bad. Bad people help dirty criminals go free. I never thought a lawyer would actually try to help me. Would actually believe in me. Would risk his own life for me. I never would have even imagined it.
Albie!
So, that's why I lied. To try and save myself. But I'm not gonna lie anymore. If you believe in me enough to put your life on the line, then I'm gonna believe in you too. What? Allow me to explain!
Now we're talking. Time to finally get to the bottom of things.
To be honest, I went to the treasure room lots of times to look at the treasure box.
Even though the temple told you weren't allowed to go anywhere near it?
Yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Roll even saw me once and scolded me. But that box is so beautiful, the way it glows in the dark. I couldn't help myself.
Wait, it glows in the dark?
That's right, it's covered in a special mineral called fluorite that makes it glow. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's really a shame they didn't put it on display for the public. Can you imagine how people would go on night tours of the temple if they did?
If only I applied such passion to telling me the truth earlier. Okay, it glows in the dark.
The day of the incident, I was on my way to the treasure room again. When I ran into Mr. Roll on the green stairs.
Those are not the treasure room stairs. The Seance vision.
No, they were the great stairs that connect the hallways.
Makes sense. Makes sense. The vision wasn't clear enough to show us what was at the top of the stairs.
All of a sudden, Mr. Roll drew his gun and threatened me with it. I quickly put my hands up. Mr. Roll, he acted so scary. For some reason, he had a scarf over his mouth. I couldn't read his expression at all. Just then, the power went out. So I took that chance to hightail it out of there. I ran for my life, even now when I try to think back on it. All I can remember are the gun and the piercing look in Mr. Roll's eyes. That must have been when I dropped the notice skull.
I think this is supposed to be me thinking, but whatever. Did Mr. Roll say anything to you when you ran into him on the stairs? What is it, Albie?
I have no idea why, but he asked me a strange question. Did you steal it? He said.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't say all this before. I didn't think anybody would believe me.
Ha ha! A grand speech. One that confirmed my suspicions that you were the thief.
Objection!
But that might have just been the victim's misunderstanding.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, as they say. The victim must have had good reason to be suspicious of the accused.
Why does every new piece of information have to seem so incriminating?
Shadow, what do I do, Shadow?
And what better reason to suspect the boy than seeing the treasure box in his hands? In the course of his rounds, the victim must have noticed that the treasure had been stolen. And then, just after that... he ran to the accused, I'll be your guide.
No, that's not what happened.
Therefore, the one who stole the treasure and killed the victim can be none other than the accused.
He's a puppy in there?
What now? Oh, Shadow was his dog?
Hey, Shadow, down, boy!
Well, what do we have here?
I'm sorry about this. That's my dog, Shadow.
Nearly gave me a heart attack.
So that's what was making his big move.
Can you
quiet that yuppie mat down, yappy mutt. Shadow says that Mr. Roll made a mistake.
You can understand him?
Ha ha ha.
Oh, sorry.
Don't tell me this is a surprise witness from the defense.
I beg your pardon? You're not thinking of cross-examining an animal, are you?
Of course not, Your Majesty. Not this time, anyway. Trust me, I've done it twice before.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I thought I'd have to reassess my assessment of your sanity for a second there.
I think I'd better reassess my strategy, and fast. I have to somehow show that somebody else could instruct the victim, or we're sunk. Well, it's true that the defendant was standing in front of the victim when he died. It doesn't mean somebody else couldn't have struck the victim at that time.
If you're gonna go that far, and I hope this means you have another angle of approach ready.
Exactly. I mean, who would the accused standing front and center could have done it? Unless you can back up your claim, it's nothing more than conjecture.
Okay, come on, Phoenix. I know I can think up something convincing. Where else could the victim have been struck from? Behind.
Take that!
With the defendant standing in front of the victim, isn't it possible that the victim could have been struck from behind?
From behind, you say? I see. Yes, I suppose it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Good. Now at least I have some breathing room.
What do you suppose it could have been?
Oh, the true culprit, naturally. The one who actually committed the theft and murder.
The true culprit? And I suppose you have a true timeline of events to go along with that?
I should have known I'd have to explain everything. Alright, we've seen the true culprit strike the victim from behind, and that means... after going to the treasure room and stealing the treasure, the true culprit tried to escape. But then Mr. Roll appeared, making his rounds. I imagine the culprit quickly hid in the storeroom at the other end of the hallway.
Ha ha ha. You're grasping at straws, Mr. Wright. Admit it, you have nothing but baseless conjecture.
I'm gonna look for something to base it on right now. Albie, when you ran to Mr. Roll in the hallway, was there anyone around the storeroom area?
I don't know. There might have been somebody there, but I couldn't see. I was only halfway down the stairs, so I couldn't see at the end of that hallway.
I see. Swing and a miss.
Oh, Shadow says that someone was there.
I see. Thank you for that. Too bad his testimony is inadmissible.
Ha ha ha.
You think this is a joke? Maybe the defendant didn't happen to see this other person, but that doesn't mean the true culprit couldn't have been there in the hallway.
Your desperate floundering is getting hard to watch. But I will enjoy watching you sink.
What are you talking about?
Unfortunately for you, only the accused and the victim were there in that hallway at the time of the incident.
How can you continue to make that assertion?
Because there was a witness.
A very reliable eyewitness who definitely isn't the true culprit. What?
Your Majesty, the prosecution would like to call its witness to the stand.
Calling an eyewitness to the stand, It's been decades since that happened.
And unlike the defense's witness, you can rest assured there's no pets involved.
That was a low blow.
Very well. I'll allow it. And now, for something we've not heard in quite some time. Bring the witness to the stand.
Oh, dude, it's Rocker Jesus, dude. Yo, how's it going, dude? Yo. Do you ever, think about life?
Witness, please say your name and occupation.
Peelzub and Distance, the name? I'm like, Temple's head monk, can you dig?
Oh, if it isn't instructor and distant. You're the eyewitness?
Instructor.
Not only is Mr. Endiston Temple's head monk, he's also a renowned Demolan expert.
Sorry to ask, but what's a Demolan?
check it. Here she is, my sweet serenader, my one and only Groovy, right? But you heard our sultry sounds once before, brother. When dragon and oh, the song, yeah. Girl, battle. That's the song from the dance of devotion. Right on, brother. The song is ceremony. Playing this tune together is a precious gig for me and my girl here, you dig? The song's ceremony, the song that I was playing at the time of the murder. Oh, holy mother. May the righteous sounds of my Damalin serve as an offering to you.
Wonderful. A great performance as always.
This is my thing, you know, my bag. I make instruments speak, baby. By the by, Magistrate Pops. No Damalin class today. Damalin class.
No, I'm afraid this trial's gone to overtime. Thanks to the lawyer over there.
Class the judge wanted to attend was a Damalin lesson?
Alright, maybe future me will take over, but if not, I'm going to end today's episode here for now. Thank you for watching the introduction to this series. Holy crap! This is a long part, but whatever. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and stuff. So we'll see more of this awesome game. We'll be playing it till the end, as always, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out!